peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Siasa ni muhimu kwa sababu siasa ni mara mbili. Siasa can be very emotive, very juicy, and filled with a lot of empty promises that never materialize. Or siasa inaweza kuwa watu wanaambiana ukweli na wanajua ya kwamba ndio tufike pahali ambapo tunataka kufika. There is no quick fix. Sijui kama tunaelewana. There is no quick fix. It is going to take blood, sweat, tears, and a lot of toil if we want to make this country that country that all of us dream of. Nataka tushindane kwa fikira. Nataka tushindane kwa kujiuliza tutafika mwisho wa safari hii kwa njia gani? Jana nilisema ya kwamba BBI imekuwa safari. BBI sio kitu ambacho kilianza hivi hivi. Kuna wale ambao pia hata mimi wamenitangulia. Wale ambao vile tumesikia kijana akisema hapa walipigania uhuru wa taifa hili, na kwa sababu ya kujitolea kwao hata huo uhuru hawakuona. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Hawakuona. Kuna wengine nao walipigania uhuru, wakateswa, wakafungwa, na mwishowe waliuona ule uhuru, ule independence, freedom. Lakini walifika hapo wakiwa bado ni wazee. They were old men, all of them. Miaka yao yote ya udogo, their youthful years, they were in the struggle, fighting for their independence. And that is why we are saying, remove these dirty politics of 2022 and dividing people. Class, wewe ni tajiri, sijui wewe ni maskini. Na tuseme, as a country, if you want to be a leader, let us work together to ensure we put in place the right constitution, put in place the right policies to ensure that we end poverty. But poverty cannot be ended by handouts, my dear brothers and sisters. Yeah? It will never be ended by handouts. Yeah? Uhuru is here today, tomorrow is gone. So if you were dependent on me, saidiaing you and your wife and your child, sasa wakati nitakuwa hapa, utafanya namna gani? Na hujajipanga.
It is ridiculous and it is against the laws of nature that we can have somebody sitting pretty who takes home more money than the credible entrepreneur who is doing actual production of goods and services.
We always say it as it is. It is only in this country that when a thief is arrested, you hear elders from their tribe saying, he is our son and he is our thief.
If you are deviant
Yes.
and I call you leader, probably you are already a leader, but you are leading in the wrong direction.
We want to see the role of the youth
Yeah.
in the security,
Yes.
governance,
Yes.
and development.
The youth that I meet and work with here, you know, we call them the millennials and X's and Y's, this and that. They don't necessarily want to live like their fathers and grandfathers, do business like their fathers and grandfathers. They're more independent, they're better educated, and they're the ones that are making everything move in this region.
We look at the issues, we talk about issues that impact people's lives in Africa.
The African peoples themselves continue to cheer bad leaders, and because they cheer them on, they continue to be misled.
Let me ask you, doctor, would you rather be somebody who does not enjoy so much freedom but you are rich?
Yes.
Or you'd rather be poor who you are actually imprisoned by the poverty itself?
My goal is not to come here and say, I want the majority ownership, I want to own this, I want to own that, I want to do this. My goal is we all make money and we're all happy, and I help build a big business here.
Punchline is for Africa, with Africa, from Africa.
A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. This is the week that was, and on this show we get to look at what made headlines across, Kenya and the continent of Africa and indeed the world, and we do a recap of that before we get into the newspaper review this morning. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and of course the television station is Punchline Africa TV, based here in Kenya's capital in Nairobi. And on the panel this morning, I'm joined by Kidi Mwaga, a lawyer from Nairobi. Kidi, a very good morning to you.
Very good morning, Miriam. Good morning to our viewers in East Africa and around the world. It's always a privilege showing up on Punchline.
Very well, nice to have you. And we're also joined by Douglas Kirimi, all the way from Meru. He is a politician, aspiring politician. He is an editor, and he's also a political analyst. Douglas, good morning.
Good morning, Miriam, and also good morning to my friend Kidi Mwaga, and also to our viewers across the world. Today I'm in Nairobi, and I came to see the Nairobi Expressway.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I'm in Nairobi.
I think I can locate your location from what I'm seeing from the background there. But thank you so much. It's good to have you in the city. So before we get into the conversation this morning, I would like for us to bring us up to date with the latest in terms of the COVID-19 statistics here in the country and a few countries across Africa, and perhaps the total count in the continent. And we'll start with Kenya. And the confirmed cases in the country is at 101,339 cases. The people who have since died from COVID-19 in Kenya stands at 1,773. Recoveries is at 84,143 cases. And Uganda, 39,735 cases have been confirmed. 327 of those have died. And recovery stands at 14,310. Zimbabwe, 34,171. And the death toll is 1,288. Recoveries is at 27,759. South Africa, the figures right now have topped 1,466,767. The death toll in South Africa is 45,605. Recovery stands at 1,327,186 cases there. And I'll just move on to the total cases across Africa this morning. And the number of cases that have been confirmed so far stands at 2,949,700 cases. The people who have died in the continent right now is at 98,921, and recoveries stands at 2,560,739 cases. The global statistics have surpassed 105 million cases, and the death toll have surpassed 2.2 million cases. And of course, the recoveries there have surpassed 77.2 million cases. And the numbers there unfortunately keep going up by the minute. Thank you so much. And so we have so much in store for you. As I said, this is the week that was, and we know that the story that has been on our front pages over this week is the trouble that Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko finds himself. So we'll start with that because I still see it, on the Star newspaper, so maybe I'll just look at that. It is on the front pages of the Star newspaper. Sonko to remain in custody till next week over terror charges, and the story is on page 2 of the Star newspaper. And it says, former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko will spend the weekend in police custody ahead of 2 rulings on his release next week. This was after a court at Committee Prisons that was hearing an application by the prosecution to hold him for 30 days deferred the ruling to February 9th. That is the same day a Kiambu court is expected to make a ruling on his bail application in an assault case. He is also facing Kahawa's Chief Magistrate Diana Kavenza ordered that Sonko be detained at Gigiri police cells ahead of her ruling. His defense team opposed the application by the prosecution, citing contempt of court and jurisdiction of the matter. This is because the officers had driven with him to the Kahawa West Court instead of Gigiri police cells, as had earlier been directed. And we've seen there the story continuing. So I don't know, are we likely to see the end of, what do you think is the end game on Sonko's, because it's not the first time that he's being arrested, detained, and all that. So what is likely from what we see and the charges that have been leveled against him there? What do you think is the end game there, Kiddy?
Thank you. Well, Miriam, one thing that I must say before I answer your question is that Sonko is someone whose politics was premised on impunity. And then for so long, it is an impunity that has been left to fester on for so long. Finally, the goose time has caught up with him, because we are always reminded that when you find yourself in a hole, you stop digging. Sonko demonstrated that he was unable to govern the city of Nairobi, and therefore political accountability was put in place to ensure that he is removed as it is envisaged under the law. But then when that happened and Sonko was removed from office, he then began to engage himself in activities that the law still frowns upon, including making remarks that are geared towards encouraging class war and contempt for the office of the presidency. Over and above that is that Sonko is someone who, while serving as senator, as governor, has also engaged himself in other criminal activities. And that is why I was saying impunity. So that finally, when the law has caught up with him, it is a demonstration that how far someone may rise, if they're not diligent, if they do not observe the law will still catch up with them. Now, in answering your question, what is the end game in Sonko's matter? Sonko must be held accountable for every single criminal act he engaged himself in part to send the message to our young people that it does not help to be indecent and to engage in criminal behavior, because at that point in time you may be enjoying political immunity. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Kitty, there's something there you've said. When you find yourself in a hole, then you should stop digging. Instead, Sonko kept going, Douglas, and now he finds himself where he is. How do you see this ending?
Thank you, Miriam. And also, one thing we need to understand is that the rise and fall of Mike Sonko is that our nation needs to accept that at the end of the day, we need decency and also respect when it comes to people and also holders of public office. For Mike Sonko, I don't see anything that can come good from his case. Sonko is going to prison direct, and also I've predicted before that Sonko will be impeached. And at this point, what we are experiencing today is a Sonko that is under siege. Everyone is fighting a case against him. Sonko has been terrorizing the city residents, in rescuing them. He has been terrorizing people, grabbing land and doing all manner of things in the city of Nairobi. One thing that we need to accept as the people is that we should stop erecting these people and elevating them too far. Because Sonko, for Sonko, his goose is already cooked. I can only wish him well as he goes to prison. And also for him, the end game against Sonko is that at the end of the day, we need to bring to book people who have committed economic the people of Kenya and also return that money. Jailing Sonko alone is not enough. Taking him to prison alone is not enough because Sonko has committed multiple crimes. All those crimes, he should be made to pay for those crimes. And I hope very soon that Sonko pay for his crimes and also the monies that he has stolen in their billions should be returned to the people of Kenya. Because Sonko has been a very fake philanthropist that has been masquerading as a savior and also a man that came to rescue people of Nairobi from Dr. Evans Kidero. So at the end of the day, as the people of Nairobi, I want to advise the people of Nairobi and also Kenyans to stop erecting these thugs into public office because we have seen what Sonko has done and what Sonko has been messing around. But today we are experiencing a true testament of what development can do when our leaders achieve their greed and also their selfish ambitions. Remember, NMS, the coming of NMS through President Uhuru Kenyatta saved the people of Nairobi billions of shillings and also it has transformed the rights of city residents. I wish Sonko would have borrowed a leaf from NMS so that they can transform the city, whatever he has stolen, return the money, and move forward as a people media.
All right, thank you so much, Douglas. Now, separately, Sonko's two bodyguards, Clifford Ouko and Benjamin Ochieng, were charged in the Kaha West court for attempting to rescue him. The prosecution wanted to have the two detained for 30 days pending investigation into the matter. They were arrested on February 3rd outside Committee where they allegedly planned the rescue. An affidavit by police said they recovered military uniforms, SIM cards, a laptop and assorted mobile phones from the two. You go to a maximum prison like Committee and you allegedly attempt to rescue someone. Professor, a very good morning to you. What do you make of that? Go ahead.
Yeah, Miriam. I am one man who will stand for you even if I don't like what you do. That's my opening remarks. I'm not very happy the way the government is trying to deal with Sonko. And this is an indication of poor governance. I'm making these remarks. What has been the government doing with all the intelligence reports and information to us? And this is going to give Sonko unnecessary marriage, Miriam. He's going to come out of that as a hero. So I want to say that we are all equal before the law. We are all equal before the Constitution. If I commit a crime, I don't wait until you don't wait until I insult you. Is when you just go to the dustbin to look for the mistakes I've done. Let us punish crime as it appears, because now those are very serious crimes. Though it's being judged by no, but Miriam, you know our country, they will be turned to be political, and we lose war. Yeah. The people will start saying that there is persecution on Governor Sonko. That is not the case, Miriam. So this is an indication of bad governance, and there's someone who is sleeping on the job. And you will see the kind of noise it will bring all about, and Miriam, we lose this war. So if you have committed crime today, Miriam, you'll be charged, be taken to court. And Miriam, did they see him just wearing that uniform here the other day? Did you see sometimes back carrying all big guns appearing outside the Nairobi hospital, Miriam? Why was he not being charged? So Miriam, let us be very honest. There are some untouchable cows in this country, Miriam. And when they appear to be out of the system, Miriam, is when they will be charged now. Miriam, now we are entering, is now talking about the deep state. Now that is not part of the deep state, that's not what they are dealing with him. No, Miriam, the rule of good governance and the rule of law requires that if one makes a mistake, he should be punished and be charged on time You don't wait to do it now, and the people will now start saying, oh, this political persecution, when it is not the case, Miriam.
All right, Farrell, thank you so much. Professor speaking his mind there as usual. Now, Inspector Ezekiel Lulei of Anti-Terrorism Police Unit swore...
Can I mention something briefly?
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, there is what we call the Law of Limitations Act. The Law of Limitations Act was put in place to ensure that we avoid having troublesome litigators. But then you realize that the Law of Limitations Act is only limited to civil proceedings. When it comes to criminal proceedings, there is no limitation. So that even 100 years, if someone is still alive, then they will be brought to book for the crimes they committed 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. So that when the professor said something very significant, that the state should have acted swiftly in holding Sonko accountable when he committed these crimes. But then I think leveraging on the fact that criminal liabilities, criminal proceedings do not have limitations, I think we must applaud the government for finally making sure that Sonko is held accountable. Thank you.
So criminal liabilities do not have a time frame.
Kiddy has not gotten me. Kiddy has not gotten me. Kiddy, you don't wait until I quarrel with you. Is when you will say that you committed that crime. The government has been having this information. I am saying it could have taken action. That's all that I'm saying.
All right.
We are in a political country, and people will turn this thing into political, and we lose it into Kiddy. That's what I'm saying.
We lose the focus. Okay. Very well. I understand both of your points of view. Now, Inspector Ezekiel Lulei of the Anti-Terrorism Police Unit swore an affidavit saying the two, that is Sonko's two bodyguards, have been wearing military attire against the law. Lulei said the two planned to attack parts of the country and cause mayhem. The magistrate was set to rule on the new case later in the evening. It doesn't look very good there for Sonko and now his two bodyguards. Jevan, a very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. And I don't know, what is your thoughts on this new development on former governor of Nairobi's case?
Thank you, Miriam, for having me on the show. Good morning to our viewers, and good morning to my co-panelists, Professor Onyari, Kiddy Mwanga, and Douglas Kiremi. Thanks for having me. And on the issue of Sonko, and I have, as I said yesterday, Sonko has suffered what we call self-inflicting wounds. He has gone out there, he has damaged his career politically, and he has also damaged his reputation as a person because of the things that he have altered in public places. He has gone out there to alter words without being careful of what comes out of his mouth. And I think that is what have caused him all these predicaments that he is going through now. But when Sonko, he has said a lot of things in the public forums, and I think this comes to the character. He has not started yesterday. Since he started his political career, he's a man who comes out to be very, he does not hide his mind. And especially when you irritate him, he goes out there to utter all the words and to sometimes to reveal some of the secrets that he is supposed to substantiate, whether they are true or false, through the DCI, like he said on the case of Kevisho, on the issue of 2017 the demonstrations. Therefore, we see a man who is not quite, is unpredictable in terms of the things that he says. He can say something today and tomorrow he changes the tune. But what he is going through now, that is what the law should be doing. To follow those people who are incite, to follow those people who are corrupt, to follow those people who engage in terrorism activities. That is the law. That is the work of the intelligence, to ensure that this country, all the people who are corrupt, are held accountable and they are punished, and the money that they stole is recovered. We know my Bobi Sonko is suffering from maybe emotions after he was impeached, and that is why maybe he is bitter. But what the law is doing now, it is catching up with him. Maybe they are waiting at the right time so that they can strike. Maybe that was the case, because some of the issues that he is being accused from, he committed some times back. But the recent one, to accuse a government falsely or whatever he is doing without substantiating or without giving evidence, that to me is something that leaders should avoid. Leaders should come clean and say words that they mean, not just to utter words to praise their political demigods. And that is not a good gesture. Therefore, Sonko should carry his own cross without bringing his problems to the public. I have seen some youth trying to demonstrate that Sonko is being accused falsely. You know, the problem with this country, as Professor Onyari is saying, is everything in this country is political. Nobody now will see Sonko as a person who is suspect of committing crime. They'll see him as a person who is a victim of political witch hunt. And that is something that we Kenyans must avoid. We need to see things from what they're supposed to be, not what we think should be. And we have seen, and this is a narrative that is going around. And I said this, these people who support the deputy president, they have a political strategy that if you want to be a hero, you go there, you criticize the government, you point the government in bad faith, and when you come out now, you come as a hero. And when the DCI and the EACC tries to catch up with you, you come out as a victim of state victimization. And that is an act that they have perfected. And that is what Sonko is trying to hold on. And by the time we realize, the government will be painted as if it's targeting those people who support the deputy president. But that should not be the case. They know they are corrupt, but they run there so that they will attract sympathy. It is high time that the government knows this trick, and they should be held accountable even before joining the DP route to come, so that we avoid all these contradictions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And speaking of DP, just down there after Sonko's story, I'm looking at the Star newspaper, and Sonko's story is one on the front pages there. But down there on the story on page 2 of the Star newspaper, only colonial minds oppose hustler movement, says DP. And just beside that story, I see a survey that was carried out by the Star newspaper, and the question was, should hustler versus dynasty be banned? And 52% said yes, and 48% said no. Quite interesting there. So that is a survey that the Star did yesterday as posing that question, and that is how Kenyans are polled. And now this story, Deputy President William Ruto on Thursday launched a scathing attack on opponents of his hustler movement, saying only those with a colonial mind can disagree with the narrative. The DP, who is on a 3-day tour off the coast, said the story of Wheelbarrow is a complex economic program which has rattled the rich people. It is complex. Douglas. It's very complex. All right, Kitty, go ahead.
Miriam, thank you. And also, we need to understand that, as even the president said, one thing I cannot do is to take the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, seriously on any matter, especially governance issues and political issues across the nation. This is the same man that will adopt one position in the morning, in the afternoon he has another position, and also in the evening. And that is a pattern that I've not seen even across Africa and even in the world. And we need to also call out the Deputy President for what he has been doing. A Deputy President makes sure that he has dominated the headlines for all reasons, whether he wants to be on the front page or for good reasons or whatever it is, that this is a man that even the president said yesterday, he has not ever seen any crop of readers like the one that we have today. A very impatient Deputy President, a man that is committed into making sure that the people of Kenya don't enjoy the development that can come from government and all that. But at the end of the day, that is his own version of doing things. But as a people, we need to also remind ourselves that this is a man that has also committed economic crimes, protects thieves, and also people like Mike Sonko who have committed economic crimes to the people of Kenya. One thing that I am sure of is that the people of Kenya are opening their eyes. For example, why would he continue doing all these political rallies across the nation instead of helping the president deliver on the Big Four agenda? This is the same man that has been bribing people around the country to continue insulting the president and his family, which insults that he cannot take himself, or also his wife or children take these insults. At the end of the day, it is what it is, because for Deputy President William Ruto, his end has come. As the world sees who he is as a leader and everything, I don't take William Ruto serious, because this is also a man that supports, because as the people he walks around with, he says. Also, again, it is very
Douglas, your
for
connection is not very good today. I don't know what you're going to do about it. Please just take a look at it and then I'll come back to you. But in the meantime, I'd like to go to Kide. Now, our Deputy President said that the story of the wheelbarrow is a complex economic program which has rattled the rich people. That is classism right there, which I think is what has been worrying a section of the population in this country, saying, you know, these class wars, they're not very healthy for this country. But he's saying it's a very complex economic program there, the hustlers narrative.
Miriam, I am usually perturbed by William Ruto's reverse psychology. On one hand, William Ruto that there is upungufu ya wajinga Kenya, and on the other hand, William Ruto exactly goes ahead to insult the intelligence and the intellect of the people of Kenya. One, there is no complexity in the hustler narrative or wheelbarronomics. Wheelbarronomics is a simple political gimmick which was initially intended to twist the president into tampering to the whims of a rogue deputy, but then when the president stood his ground, then they've now moved into the full-blown class war that they're now advocating. Truth is, hustlenomics as it is designed has got no mechanisms of productivity. It has got no mechanisms of ensuring that money is placed in the hands of ordinary entrepreneurs. Wheelbarronomics as it is nothing but a ploy to attract attention, which of course he has managed to attract. For instance, they're talking about the wheelbarrow, whatever. Wheelbarrow can only serve in an economic dispensation when there is somebody on the higher scale who is able to hire that wheelbarrow. But then you realize that those people, the middle class, people who ordinarily would have given job to that wheelbarrow, to hire that wheelbarrow, to hire so that wheelbarrow can, to people with the car owners who would have taken their cars to the car wash, are people whom William Ruto has ensured that are economically decimated. And I will illustrate.
Mm-hmm.
When William Ruto and through his crony Rotich was in charge of Treasury, they made sure that they bungled the economy so much so that there was massive capital flight out of the economy that ensured that thousands upon thousands of ordinary, what you would call ordinary middle-class Kenyans, were rendered penniless, jobless, moneyless. So these are the people who ordinarily would have hired the mikokotenis, the wheelbarrows, and the car wash. But then, after ensuring that these people are rendered economically destitute, then William Ruto goes ahead to dish out car wash machines.
Mm-hmm.
So that it means that he is himself setting us up for a civil war or a class war, as it is, for a class war.
Mm-hmm.
Because it means we're going to have 1,000 washing machines with 5 cars for washing. So that the car wash owners, the vijanas who are having the car wash machines, are to begin with going to fight among themselves because there is going not to be enough cars for them to wash.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the folly and on which hustlerism is predicated upon.
Okay. Thank you, Kidina. He says it is not what you think, it is a complex program. Those opposed to this narrative have colonial minds that make them believe that it is only a few people that should be empowered, Ruto said. Professor.
Let me just mention something because you've read that, and thank you for reading that.
Mm-hmm.
Part of where this is coming from, generally there are 2 economic models, and I've mentioned this before. That there is the export-led economic model, and then there is what we call the trickle-down economics, which in other jurisdictions is called import substitution model. But then you realize that in Kenya, this talk originally gained traction through David Ndii. But then you realize that David Ndii is also harboring deep-seated personal hatred for the Kenyatta family in general and President Kenyatta in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So that when you hear William Ruto talking about dynasties being people with colonial privilege, he is actually inadvertently referring to President Kenyatta. And this is part of the venom that David Ndii is harboring that made Baba find it difficult to work with Ndii. Indeed, someone who was willing to go the whole hog of banning this country through the calls for secession. But then when Raila Odinga had the good sense to say that the nation is greater than my individual ambition, than the ambitions of any other person, then he said that let us rebuild this country with the president. People like Ndi bolted out in protest to go and join William Ruto. So that when they talk about hustler nation and hustlernomics, it is the bitterness that they hold against certain people of this country. Bitterness that is unjust, bitterness that is unfounded, bitterness that must not be permitted to fester and must not be permitted to get into the young people of this country.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Professor, number one question, is the wheelbarrow story that complex as the Deputy President would lead us to believe? And also, he's saying the people who are opposed to this narrative are people who have colonial minds. I don't understand that. Perhaps you could have a better understanding of what our Deputy President there is saying.
Miriam, I want to entirely agree with Kidi. And I'm one man now who has come to say that democracy must be guided, Miriam. You don't just allow democracy people to do and say all that they want to do. What the Deputy President Miriam is trying to do is in subordinating the president, is running a parallel government, and in a civil and order and just society cannot be allowed. Cannot be allowed. You know, the government came with this Kasmutani. You know, sometimes you must have good memory, Miriam, to see where are these things coming from. The government was genuinely wanted to caution and help the young people at least have something. And Miriam, let me tell you that, and the young people were very appreciative. They liked it, whether they were graduate or not. They wanted at least to have something during the time for pandemic. That's one way, because the government cannot wake up one morning and then start dishing money to the people.
Yes,
you must at least do something.
And the government did not say that this is a long-term program. They want to continue. It was just to mitigate the effects, the economic effects.
Miriam, now you're talking about. Okay. What does this man now do? The Deputy President, what does he do? He starts running up a parallel program, Miriam. When he is supposed to implement the government policies, even if be does it may those wheelbarrows and Mukongoteni, Miriam, this is a principal assistant to the president who have been given a mandate to run this country for the last 8 years. What makes it so difficult for him to go and say, Mr. President, why don't we bring this component? So what he wants to do with Miriam is to paint the president look bad. And he has succeeded to some extent. And he's telling people in this country, Miriam, among the young people who are vulnerable. Miriam, you don't just go to the vulnerable people and tell you, do you know what? The problems to what you are suffering is because of this. And I'm at least giving you a Mukongoteni, wheelbarrow, so at least you can be able to, Miriam, things don't work. Wheelbarrow economics is not something what he's trying to say, it cannot work. And Miriam, with time, Miriam, the rest of Kenyans have been keeping quiet. And now time has come for us to demystify this. And Miriam, and if we are not very careful, and the government has come to realize this very late, Miriam, that the Deputy President has already assembled a troop. You could not even imagine we are going to the second topic, which is one of our topic today, that someone can just go and fight someone in a honorable member of parliament. So these are the people, the way Dr. Masanga has been putting it. These are the people who are ready for anything else. And they can do it. They are not ashamed to do it. So when he talks about the wheelbarrow economics, Miriam, there is something he's saying, and honestly, he's saying it is something complex, because he's preparing young people for agitation. You have heard very well, Sonko has committed crimes. What are you seeing the young people doing? They are demonstrating. They are saying he's being persecuted. They are not seeing the crimes he has committed. So Miriam, I don't know why they have taken so long to impeach this man. How I wish I was part of Parliament. I could have prepared a motion with Kidi, and we have this man impeached for once, for all.
All right, Professor, I hear you. Now, in a 1 hour speech at Mwangulu in Lungalunga, Kwale County, where he commissioned the Mwereni Chief's Office and Mwangulu Police Station, Ruto said he will not stop talking about the economic empowerment of the downtrodden. The police station was constructed at a cost of 8.4 million Kenya shillings, and the chief's office at 5.5 million Kenya shillings by the Lungalunga CDF. Ruto said the rich are talking about the trickle-down economy, but the hustlers are interested with the bottom-up economics, which he said the last time they were campaigning with President Uhuru Kenyatta. I wonder why he's not brought policies that will ensure that is implemented in the current government that he's serving under. And he said after next year's general election, now this is where I'm having trouble. He said after next year's general election, his government will ensure that the small businessmen get additional 100 million Kenya shillings annual allocation apart from the Constituency Development Fund after next year's general election. But in the meantime, he is the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, earning a salary, is supposed to be doing a job on behalf of Kenyans, but he's saying, never mind my position right now. Never mind the things that myself and President Uhuru Kenyatta promised that we will do for Kenyans after we were elected on our first term, on our second term. Never mind that a lot of these things that I was the leader championing for, I've not seen them come to fruition. I've not been participating in ensuring some of these things are able to be realized. Forget about that. But what I'm telling you is, after next year's general election, in my new government, I will do this. I cannot wrap my mind around that kind of thinking, Javen.
Thank you, Miriam. And let me say this, our Deputy President, William Ruto, is a master of double speak. When he was in Bomet, mid-January, he was telling the people of Bomet that the government of Jubilee has failed since the handshake and there's nothing going on. Later that week, the following week, he came to Kiserian in Kajiado County, and he was praising the government track record of how it has constructed roads, dams, electricity, everything, and TVET institutions. Therefore, this is a man who has mastered the art of doublespeak. And one thing that I disagree with him totally is him saying that those people who are against the hustler narrative, they have colonial mindsets. That is a pure lie. The fathers of those people they are calling dynasty today, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, first vice president of this republic, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. These are the people who fought hard to ensure that we had a country called Kenya. If these people had a bad will for this nation, they could have taken everything. They had the power to take everything that belongs to this country and to force everybody else out of this country. Therefore, they should not pretend that we are living under mercy of somebody. No, this country, people suffered to have this nation. They should not call us up colonial mindsets today because they want to get power. Those people who they had colonial mindset are the one who liberated this country from the yokes of the colonialism, from the yoke of dictatorship through the white machineries. Therefore, that is something that is not good. And on the issue of hazarism, who benefits from this hazarism agenda? These are youth, vulnerable youths, who are selected few. And Miriam, to some point, these wheelbarrows, they don't get to the people who deserve them. I have not seen them coming to villages in Nyeri asking those people who need wheelbarrows. They just come with 20 wheelbarrows and they ditch to people who they know specifically where they can get them after the rally, and they return those wheelbarrows back to Karen. Because if they are of goodwill, they should be coming out here and asking those people who need wheelbarrows. Number two, those people who use wheelbarrows to sell fruits, they were not forced to do that. You cannot force a guy to be a kinyozi. You cannot force a guy to be a car washer. These things of forcing people to ride wheelbarrows unwillingly is something that is not making sense. People should be allowed. If I need a wheelbarrow, yes. And what about those who need taxes? You know, they need to care for everybody, because everybody qualifies to be a hustler according to their definition. They should also come into mashinani and ask, what do you need? There are some people who need boda boda. There are some people who need matatus. There are some people who need to invest in buses. They should come with all these packages to elevate the people, the livelihoods of the people. Then, when William Ruto was at the edge of the people he is donating wheelbarrows, when Mzee Moi met him, he was given a land, a car, and a good life. And that is why today he is a man of influence. You cannot be a man of influence when you are given a wheelbarrow. That one we must agree, because we have been having wheelbarrow since we were born. Even in our home when I was a kid, we had a wheelbarrow. I know even from the other panelists, in their home they had wheelbarrows, and our lives have not changed because of these wheelbarrows. That is why we go to school, because these wheelbarrows cannot change anything. They are just used as a tools of work. It's just like a djembe. It's just like any other tools that we use for agricultural purposes or for other uses in our homes. Therefore, there is nothing much that is coming out of this wheelbarrow. Then, he is a deputy president. What has he done to ensure that we have a better Kenya? Why is he earning a salary of a government that he criticizes every day? Why is he earning a salary to a government that is not delivering the promises it's made to the people? In 2013, he was the man who was loudest shouting of a digital government, of a laptops economy, of a digital, the three figures, whatever economic growth. But today, he is the man who is talking of wheelbarrows. Now he is promising people of Lunga Lunga a good life after 2022. Who knows whether he'll be from that government? You know, it's better you do that thing, that development, develop that change when you have the time, when you are still in the power. He has power today. Who knows whether in 2022 he'll be in the government? Therefore, this mentality that he is giving the people of Kenya, that he must rule, that is like we owe him the presidency, that is something on its own nature in amounts to incitements. Because the day the people of Lunga Lunga, deputy president fails, the day the people he has promised good things after 2022, if he does not become the president, what will these people do? They will erupt and start throwing things to others. Therefore, it is high time that we call the hypocrisy in the deputy president, the hypocrisy of this Hasura versus dynasty narrative, because at the end of the day, if you're giving me a machine to that watches that car wash machine, where will these cars come from? If it's not from those people who are rich. If you're giving me a wheelbarrow to go to work in a mujengo, those people who are building these houses are the people you are terming as dynasties. Therefore, we need to open our eyes and we start seeing things for who they are, for what they are supposed to be. If you're giving me a boda boda, I'll need somebody who goes to work in an office, in a government institution as my customer. Therefore, these things, we must all depend on each other. And it is high time that we demystify this hustler narrative with facts and with evidence that it will not work, it will amount to divisions. And if these people he is giving mama bogas, these mama boga, they also depend on a farmer who is in Gobit, who is in Nyeri, to produce his cabbage so that he takes to the market. If this mama boga is not empowered, if there's poor roads in the areas where these bogas are coming from, where will that mama boga in Nairobi get these cabbages? We must start realizing what this Hasra narrative is, and it's a narrative that will destroy this nation, because the people he is saying that they are no longer fools. He is giving this narrative to the fools. Thank you.
Very well said, Javan Karanja. I'll still repeat that for you, Douglas. I'd like for you to respond to what Deputy President there said yesterday in Lunga Lunga, Kwale County. He said after next year's general election, his government will ensure that the small businessman gets additional 100 million Kenya shillings annual allocation apart from the Constituency Development Fund. That will be next year after he's been elected as the Kenya's 5th president or thereabout. But what about now that he's still the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya? What is he doing for now for the people of Kenya who trusted him with that position? Douglas.
Can I weigh in?
Yeah, go ahead, Kitty.
Thank you, Miriam. One thing that we must say is that wheelbarrow, mkokoteni, saloon equipment that William Ruto seems to be keen to distribute, one as a symbol of his hustler nation, of Aslanomics and Wilbaronomics, are all symbols of trickle-down economics. Trickle-down economics has failed the world over, be it in the United States of America, be it in the United Kingdom and even in Kenya. Because one of the features, salient features of of the trickle-down economics is that it has let the gap between the rich and the poor to widen exponentially. This is not something that you want to blame on any one single leader or individual or group of people. Not quite. It is a failure of the modern economics, and the world over people are grappling with the new economic models that ensures that we are able to cushion people at the base. It is some of those things that every major political party like KANU today, I would say this being a KANU insider, it is some of those things that the party has grappled with to identify an economic model that, one, ensures that massive investment is done in the grassroots, to ensure that there is productivity at the grassroots, to ensure that that productivity at the grassroots can then be taxed, to ensure that government can then generate sufficient revenue from the private sector to finance its operations. So when William Ruto says that he's coming up with a complex economic whatever, with due respect, I want to call that nonsense upon stilts. Because for the last 8 years, William Ruto has presided over nothing but theft and theft and theft. And when we talk about theft, it was not small-scale theft. It was what we call grand corruption. And I will demonstrate that William Ruto was so strategic and so deliberate about his grand theft that, one, he ensured that he had the Ministry of Finance. When you go to the National Assembly, he made sure that the person who was elected as the Budget Appropriation Committee Chair, Kimani Ichung'wah, was his mtu ya mkono. And then in Kipara Settles, he made sure that he had people who made sure that those monies ended up in his pocket. So that today, money would be allocated for a parastatal, let's say more teaching and referral, when we still had two at Ministry of Health, then what would happen is that Kimani Ichung'wah in Parliament would be waiting for that 15 billion from Rotich, from the Treasury. When they get to Parliament, Kimani Ichung'wah's instruction was to make sure that that money is not removed from that vote head. Then when that money is disbursed to my teaching and referral through where Tum was the PS, then he made sure that that money would be picked and delivered to him. And that is why he even went ahead in the second term, because he got emboldened by his theft in the first term to have someone in the person of Rashid Echete, being a cabinet minister, driving around government offices, picking money, hard cash from parastatals, driving it in government vehicles, and taking it to the hustler's mansion or the office of the deputy president in Karen. You see, when you impoverish the economy, there is no way you can talk about uplifting those who have been left aside. Because one of those things that ensures that there is inequality in an economy is corruption. And there is no greater high priest of corruption than William Ruto. And so what he was saying in Lunga Lunga is his usual gimmicks. He is trying to continue insulting the intellect of the people of Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kidi Mwaga, speaking there like a legal mind. Thank you so much. We're also joined by this morning, Douglas, let me introduce Doctor first and then you'll come in.
Okay, cool.
Yes, very well. We're joined by Dr. David Matanga from the Political Command Center. Doctor, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Miriam. Good morning, the panel. Good morning, Professor. Good morning, all my sons. Kirimi, Javan, my brother, the lawyer, very good lawyer of international law, Kidi Mwaga. Good morning. You made passionate points. The center cannot hold anymore. Gorbachev in 1989 started what we call glasnost. But in glasnost, he made one technical error. He introduced perestroika. Communist Party collapsed. He was swept out of power. My summary this morning is the center cannot hold Miriam. We have looked at William Ruto, we have sung William Ruto, we have advised, we have talked, we have talked and talked. If we don't take action that will hold back at the center authority, who gives Sonko the energy to insult
the president?
The president is William Ruto.
True.
Who gives Murkomen powers to insult the president? Is William Ruto. Who gives Charengei? Who gives Sudi, a matatu vendor who was vendoring a matatu tout, to insult a man who has dignity, whom you have elected as a president? Who gives them powers? Who gives Gladys Cholet, a marriage breaker, to insult the president every morning? If you are defeated with a black man and you go for a white man, then you have gone for a weaker situation. That is assumed in Africa. So let her nurse her wounds. Who has given her powers? Is the deputy president. Nurse your marriage. The other day she was saying Balala should have given the job to some Lopita, but then how do you give instead of giving Naume Kambo? Naume Kambo is a Pan-African from the diaspora, but you chose a Muzungu from a place which is not known. She's not even in Muzungu, from one of these stupid countries in Eastern Europe. Stupid countries where toilets are being used in like latrines, like we do in Africa. I have no good words. We have spoken our ground, Miriam. We have summarized. Sonko would not be insulting the president if people had listened to us from a long time ago. So we blame let's start blaming ourselves also. Hii kitu ya Kenya inanisumbua.
Thank you, that's my feelings.
Inasumbua hata mtu tumefanya kila kitu. Every day we are firefighting. We are no longer sending fire. We firefight. What type of this? We firefight. Sonko should have not even been near State House because his shoes are full of thuggery. He's a thief, a well-known thief, a well-known condo. You know they call them condos. You bring him near State House. It's like a man who had no toilet in Mbale, and then you show him a toilet in Nairobi. He could even splash his feces on the toilet. And even go up there to pull that thing so that the whole thing falls down. That's Sonko. Why did we allow such a character to arrive and insult a president of a country? Because we live in a state of denial. When they catch one of yours, you say it's mine. People go and steal money in the KPC, Kenya Pipeline Company. You say they have attacked a Kalenjin. Yet they have stolen real money, which could actually build 20 hospitals. People steal money in Kenya Meat Commission. And when they get the general manager on the wrong side, you say they have attacked a Kalenjin. And the president takes their army men to take over the factory. The cows are no longer coming there of theft. The army men ask, which cow, where did you get them? So if you go there with your cows in the morning, moo, you might also be entering the mowing machine there. There is the military there waiting to mow you. So Ruto fears even to take cows there. Who of you was trading in meat? Who? Show me one businessman in Kenya who's trading in cows. Show me. Yeye mnakuja hapa tutazungumza hii kitu paka siku gani jamani? Miriam. Paka siku gani? Nani alikuwa anaendesha biashara ya ng'ombe? Nani? Sio Ruto na famu yake huko kutoka Taita Taveta na ngine kutoka Kapedo. Nani anamuibia pia ng'ombe hiko watu yake? Wenye anamiti kila siku usiku. Hey, President went and put an army man there as they under defense. He can't go there. He used to smuggle things through the airport. The president transferred all helicopters of government and all government under Ministry of Defense, the army. There is us. No, what is it called? Sorry. His tail has been curtailed. I'm sorry. Wacha tuende na huyu mjamaa. This guy is not a good guy. How did we allow such people? How long are we going to speak? Professor Miriam, you are here. Nataka mniambie mwezi na mwaka na mwezi. We have been saying for a long time, iko shida. I've been saying, don't just change piecemeal, overhaul the cabinet, overhaul the system. Watu waizi, people are thieves. Wanaiba. What the president is doing today now should have been done 1 year ago, 2 years ago. Put ministers out of their offices. Ministers spend a lot of time on unnecessary benchmarkings. Benchmarking. Minister, you're a minister of foreign affairs. Why do you travel to France when you have an ambassador for a small meeting which is local? Mniambie. You have accredited an ambassador and you want to travel to engage yourself in a meeting in France or in a meeting in The Hague. What is the use of an ambassador in The Hague? Okay, you're a minister of sports. You want also to run. You want to, where every runner is going, you have to follow. You want also to do marathon. What did you go there to? Instead of supervising the stadium. Hey, tuambiane ukweli. What the president is doing right now, people are on site. Hakuna mchezo ya kukula pesa za bure na kufanya sisi tugonge magari kwa barabara. Wako na lidika. Sisi tunagonga gari zetu na insurance.
Doctor, peleka moral support.
Yeah?
They were going there for moral support, no?
Which support?
Moral support for the athletes.
Oh my God, I think, Miriam, indeed, it could be moral support. Yes, it could be moral support. So, these are some of the things, Miriam, that annoy people. We have talked. We are fed up. But we shall not give up on our president. We shall support him up to the last minute of his departure or last minute of his engagement. We have written articles from 4 a.m. We write every morning. We removed the pressure from Facebook. Those who wanted to insult now can't insult because we are also insulted with the full package. If you come, you talk about the president, we also tell you. So some of them fear also. Some of the boys, pseudo accounts. They've created pseudo accounts. We know the person who creates the pseudo account. We know all this mess. Ruto has tried to marry somebody's wife. In African culture. Professor, if I'm wrong, tell me. If I disagree with with my wife, and you are my friend, then I find you tomorrow in a nightclub with her, do you remain my friend?
No. Nomination.
President Uhuru Kenyatta sent away Dennis Itumbi and the whole group from his office. The deputy president did the opposite. That's why the relationship started going sour. It's married the wife. It's like marrying the wife of the president. Yeah. Which man in Africa will see and wait? Why is Mudhama making noise in Machakos? Why? Even if you underrate Mudhama, you go and take a date with Mrs. Mudhama and go to Machakos Hotel of Mr. What is the name? This Mutua, and have a drink there. Then Mudhama arrives. My friend, even if they have separated, sisi hii Afrika hapo itakuwa. Ask me where woman has brought a problem on us, I will tell you. My country has been fighting because of a woman.
Sure.
You know that very well.
You are right.
Yeah. You Miriam, you women have special hearts that can change people. In fact, a man can even knock a lorry.
Doctor, before your heart knocks the lorry, there's something the Deputy President said yesterday that I'd like to hear your response to it. He said when he was at the coast yesterday that he said after next year's general election, his government, that is the Deputy President, when he's elected, his government will ensure that small businesses get additional 100 million Kenya shillings annual allocation apart from the Constituency Development Fund. And I'm sure the question that a lot of Kenyans are asking, why are you talking about your next government while you're still serving on this government and we're expecting you to be serving us right now? Where are your priorities? And if you don't believe in the government that you're serving under, what are you still doing there? Why is he talking about his next government?
Thank you for that question. Why? And that is what I spent the time, Miriam, I was supposed to start with you. I was frying somebody that's very senior. Why are we not moving for this guy? This guy is using the government, the taxpayer which insults. We elected him. The Kenyans elected him, including me, who did not vote, but I broke my hand to elect Ruto. I put over 20 cars of mine. Ruto did not pay fuel. Stupid. Did he pay fuel? Alilipa fuel yangu to campaign for Jubilee Party to go through. 20 cars. Not from stolen money. From hard-earned money in London. They were everywhere. Didn't you see them, Mr. Okama?
I saw them.
Yes, mine. And you say I have no share in the Jubilee. Even if I don't vote, I'm a friend of the Jubilee Party because I put my resources to elect, to make sure that a good government comes into Kenya. But where is it now? The guy is insulting the president. The guy is using security, the same security in Lunga. Why doesn't he tell us that he's going to sleep in his hotel, Dolphin, instead of telling us he's going to Lunga for up to Monday? Go to Kenya Airways now and see the number of ladies leaving for Mombasa. Where? You want me to go there or I keep quiet? Very soon we shall pick a picture to our nation. Huyu mjamaa anacheza na watu. But people are not happy with him, man. You insulted the president every day. We are not happy. Tutapiga picha hiyo. Bibi wako aangalie uone. Why are you fearing to talk? Itumbi, I went to school. It's me who put Itumbi on the first plane. He didn't know even how to use a fork on a plane and a seat belt. haya statement looks like, shut up. Wapi huyu? Mjinga. Put him on the first plane to Hague. Did he know where Hague was? Does he know how manners are? How you eat with Bazungu? Did he know? Wacha kelele, watu wanatisha. How can somebody, your president, a president sacks idiots like Itumbi, then you get them to the office, give them material to sack, to insult the president? You think the president will be happy? Miriam, you use the same material. You are now promising people, oh, I will do this in my government. Which government? You might not even have the government, Mr. Ruto. Where you end up on the poor one. As you work and nilungalunga, people are also working. Wacha nikwambie hiyo, your goose is cooked. If you know what goose cooking is, it's going to cook. Sonko used to tell us that he's very close. Even he puts telephone of the president on. Whoa! Crazy. Wanabomoa nyumba hapa. Sasa iko wapi? Sonko told the people that he has got AIDS. Now yesterday in his report he said he has no AIDS. So where has the AIDS? Has it cured? Tulizane ukweli. Ndio all over. Misled. Don't be misled. When I insult the president every day, for what? This is your head of state. At least for me, Museveni is not my head of state. Yes, my head of state is Her Majesty the Queen. If you didn't know, Miriam know it today. Know it today. What to do? Know it today. My head of state is Her Majesty, the Queen of England. It's not Museveni. Because I don't live in Uganda. I was born there. But if I was given a chance to choose where to live, I would have chosen to live in Kenya, actually across the bridge. And in fact, to be precise, near Siaya. And in Siaya, a particular place called Game. I would have gone there for good things only. So, unfortunately, I was born in a mountain, a mountainous slope called Mount Elgon. But my head of state is not Museveni. So don't mistake me. Okay? So whoever say, oh, why don't you insult your president? Which president? Which one? I have never insulted Her Majesty the Queen. She is my president. And we respect her. Even at the age she is 90 something, we respect her. We recite everything. When she was born, what is the kingdom? Then we are there 36 years. So you can't call me that I should be part of a Kwagamaya state, broken state, a shadowy state, a nominated state across the bridge where people steal people at night, where kidnap is rampant. Wallahi ya Mungu, where Ruto is part and a parcel. Now, you see, when I reach there, I'm now going to cry tears. He's part and a parcel of the regime that has persecuted my people. And he's getting some of those proceeds to come to be brought here very soon. Kenyans, Professor Onyali and Miriam have been warning you, and all of you on this show. Be careful. Be careful. If you think Matanga talks, you will see. Therefore, Ruto has no government of his own. My government. Which government? This one or which one? As God come from you, Angel Gabriel come to Sungoi, and I told you you are going to be. If you have God that has come to Sungoi, why don't you change that money which is in your house, which was caught by the exchange rate? Hey. Tuko na mambo inakuja. Huyu mtu, this is a man who is never grateful. You can't do anything for him, and he will never be grateful. He likes people who lie, but he can't like Matanga because I talk straight. I say I would love Uhuru Kenyatta up to the end. You will not sway me. Look at my friend like Kabando wa Kabando. He had a loan of about 12 million. His loan was paid. Another one, there is another one. He brought the paper, I have a copy. The guy clears their loans and then he turns them on Uhuru to insult Uhuru. Kabando was rigged out of an election. Karanja, you know it in Mukurweni.
Yes.
Through the man Ruto sponsored, that small man who never deserves to be an MP. You can't even hear about the name. Do you know his name even? No. The MP from Mukurweni, whom Ruto sponsored to overthrow Kabando wa Kabando. And the Tetu MP, Kivinji.
His name is Anthony Kiaye.
Anthony who?
Kiaye, the lawyer.
Those names of Maina Kiaye and so on. Those are the people who brought chaos to this country. Don't mention them in my ears. Maina Kiaye, Makao Mutua, Kidadieli Otieno, Harren Ruby, that one from Nyamira. Those are dangerous people. These are the people who brought all this Garcia here. Garcia iko hapa. Juu those guys. Museme ya ukweli. They broke this state to chaos. They thought they would be dealing with NGOs to finish Kenya. Martha Karua. Those are the names. Those are the names that brought chaos that we are in today. They selected their friends to be taken to the ICC. You see? Look at the mess. Haven't I been there for almost 20 years telling you the same? There you are. The mess we are getting now, Miriam, that is my position. Sorry, I have broken the rule of talking too much. Now of talking too much because we put a rule yesterday, strictly stick, but I was trying to compensate the minutes you had taken.
Very well, Doctor.
You people had taken more minutes than I took less, so I've used them back.
Yes, you fully compensated. Thank you so much. Douglas, you had something to say about Deputy President William Ruto's saying that after next year's general election, his government will ensure that the small businesses get additional 100 million Kenya shillings. And why? I think if he could bring that into his government right now, Kenyans will benefit right now, because I think small businesses need such ideas right now. Why does he have to wait until he becomes president, and yet he's a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya?
Thank you, Miriam. And on this show, I have said before that why would he wait to come in 2022? Why can't he not implement what they have to implement with the President of the Republic of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta? This is political arrogance, and also very unique kind of arrogance, because we have never seen a man with a full budget, with a full government, who anticipates and also lives in the future. This is a man that lives in the future, and we have nothing to offer him. And like I've said before, he has said in the same function that economics is a complex issue. This is not a complex issue. This is utter nonsense that is giving the people of Kenya, especially the people of Mount Kenya. Why is he not giving his daughter the wheelbarrows that is spreading around the country? And one thing we need to ask ourselves, and also as a people, is that the daughter is an ambassador. Douglas Bundi Kiremi is qualified. Jevan Karanja Kidimwaga, all those people are qualified to be ambassadors. Why is he not appointing them ambassadors and giving wheelbarrows to his children? Again, if this issue of the wheelbarrows is a complex, why is he taking it too far? In 2022, he has stolen a lot of money in billions. Why is he not distributing that amount of money to people across the country? Again, we need to ask ourselves, which government is he talking about in 2022? Like Dr. Masanga has posed a question, which government? There is no government that is going to be formed in 2022 by corrupt people and also people who have committed economic crimes against the people of Kenya. This is a man that we cannot trust with our resources and also our government in 2022. This is a very vengeful man that we cannot be able to trust at all. At the end of the day, Miriam, in 2022, we don't even know that the elections will be held in 2022. 2022, it's in the future. It's in the hands of God. God may decide that in 2022 there will be no elections. So this habit of living in the future should be stopped. And also, again, as a public servant, he should be serving in the government of President Uhuru Kenyatta or be impeached or leave government in peace. If he doesn't want to be impeached, I've seen Ayubu Sabura says the impeachment motion goes on without intimidation and also without fear or favor from anyone. And I wish that they can impeach him as early as next week so that he can continue following an irration that there is a 2022 government. And we have no faith that there will be a 2022 government that will be led by a corrupt blood thief who has stolen billions of shillings from the people of Kenya. And at the end of the day, Miriam, who commits economic crimes against the people of Kenya and also promises them that he is going to work miracles in 2022. That is not going to happen. Those people that are cheering him, they are just doing that for the sake of cheering him. And I have no kind words for a thief that has stolen the future of the youths of this country and given it to his own children and also go board other monies buying choppers to campaign for a political seat in 2022, whereas he has a mandate that has not expired. This is arrogance, and we need to tame this arrogance in the ballot, God willing, so that we can be able to show the people of Kenya that as a people, as a country, we have moved and also we have also refined ourselves and how we do things in this country. Because we elected thieves in Kiambu, we elected a thief in Nairobi City County, we cannot elect a thief as the president of the Republic of Kenya. I submit.
All right, thank you so much. And of course, it matters BBI. We cannot move from Kenyan stories. We have to talk about the BBI because it is one of the important national conversations that is happening in this country. And we know that yesterday, one of the major champions for the BBI, Raila Odinga, opposition leader, was having an interview on the leading Mount Kenya media stations there, and he said a couple of things, and one of the things that he said, I have never been an enemy of the Gamer Nation. It is selfish leaders who sell me as bad. If I was bad, why was Matiba my friend, or why did they refer to me as Motongoria Jamba? In 2002, he stated Raila ran for president in 1997, but backed Kibaki for the presidency in 2002. Kibaki won against Uhuru, who ran on the KANU party ticket. Raila was called Motongoria Jamba, meaning brave leader, as the NARC wave swept through Kenya after he declared Kibaki Tosha. Raila said he visited Mount Kenya region after 2002 elections and described residents as being eager and elated to see him after Kibaki rose to power. So down there, I think he was addressing the issue of why some parts of the leadership in Mount Kenya are a bit unsettled by embracing him. So addressing leaders after that in Kajiado County later on Thursday, Raila said the BBI process had picked momentum across the country. Members of the Kajiado County Assembly had assured me that they will approve the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020 in a few days, he said. The Kajiado leaders were led by Governor Joseph Olelenku, area legislators and MCAs. So there is a speech that Moses Kuria gave a couple of days ago during the burial of the famous Mugithi singer, I don't remember his name exactly, in Nakuru, that the governor of Nakuru responded to, and we looked at the governor of Nakuru, Lee Kinyanjui's speech, which I think was quite good. So before that, Moses Kuria had spoken, and what he said, a bit of, we couldn't play the whole what Moses Kuria said in totality because a lot of it was very vulgar and very just not in good taste. But there's a part there he said he does not have a problem with the BBI. He just has a problem with Raila. He calls Raila a witch or something like that. He just have a problem with that witch. Sorry for even the usage of that word. So he said he does not have a problem with the BBI. So you wonder then, I mean, if the people are going to benefit, and you believe there's a lot of people can benefit from the BBI, why can't you just close your eyes from that personal issue that you think you don't want, and look at the bigger picture, and that is, what do the people that I represent stand to gain from this BBI? I'll start with you, Kidi. Professor.
Thank you, Miriam, for that good question. This one means, Miriam, for those people who believe in the struggle and those who are not in the struggle. Mm-hmm. You know what? Everybody has got his history. I've got mine, Dr. Masanga has got, you have yours, and the Prime Minister, Raila Amolo Odinga, has got his history. He's a man who believes in the struggle. He's a man who believes for a better society, Miriam. He's the man who has fought for something in this country, Miriam. He's a man who has been detained, trying to ensure that Kenya becomes a good country. Miriam is a man who has sacrificed to ensure that there is peace and stability in this country. He's a man who has seen the things which are dividing us and which can bring us together, Miriam. So some of those people, Miriam, who are opposing them, who are opposing the Prime Minister, who are saying to the contrary, Miriam, you say that you want to oppose the BBI simply because Raila? It's not like I can say your mind is rotten, Miriam. You have got no future, no yesterday, or no that. You are just there. So, Miriam, when history will come to record and give a proper space for Raila Amolo Odinga, you cannot erase or delete. Miriam, let me tell you, there are those who are even I follow the interview, was being interviewed, Miriam, he actualized that he's not even going to say whether it's going to be the ballot next year or not until we see the way forward for BBI. Mm-hmm. Which you have said that if someone, Miriam, embraces the redemption strategy to redeem this country, do you know where this country will be today, Miriam? Is there a man who can sacrifice and say that the country is bigger than all of us? Miriam, what can you say about this man? Go back to 2007, Miriam. His victory, you know what happened to his victory? He said Kenya is big. He shook hands with the Mwai Kibaki, and they formed the Grand Coalition, Miriam. So some of these busybodies, I don't know even the good name for them, Miriam. You cannot compare them to what Raila has done for this country. Miriam, the people who can afford a thief who has rooted from the public coffers from this country. What kind of person are you, Miriam? These are the people, Miriam, if they get a chance, and God forbid, this country will be dried by the evening of the first day they have been sworn in. There will be nothing which will remain. So, Dr. Miriam, we are focused. We know where we have come from with the Prime Minister. We know where they are with his brother, Miriam. I've liked Miriam from 9th month. Up to now we are. They have never contradicted each other. Mm-hmm. They have said, brother, my brother, my brother. And that is how you build a country. And Miriam, believe it or not, we have said in this show that BBI will go through. BBI, Miriam, will take this country forward. And he said yesterday, Miriam, he doesn't have and you know the problem with the social media and the people of this country, Miriam, they twist the things. So from where I sit, let us soldier on to unite this country. This country will be there when we are not there 200 years from today if God has not come. So Miriam, I belong to the struggle. This is where the Prime Minister belongs, Miriam. This is where Dr. Masanga is. You must be able to stand for something. If you cannot stand for something, Miriam, you can fall for anything. So Miriam, we are on track. And Miriam, Miriam, I belong to the people who believe in the records of people, Miriam. I help people say that you write your records when you are alive, Miriam. History will record the Prime Minister favorably what he has done for this country. He has struggled to make a Kenya a better place. Even the democratic space, even the human rights, the Bill of Rights in Chapter 4, Miriam, even the devolution we are talking about in this country, Miriam, even the CDF we are talking about going to the ground where you are going to open and you tell us nonsense that you are going to form a government. Which government? Please, Let everyone stick to his reign. And let us concentrate on our BBI. You oppose it simply this because of Raila. What if happens if Raila is not there tomorrow? You will start championing it? What have you done? These people are the ones who cannot even build a kiosk, Miriam, even a toilet. These are the people who go to the bush in this age and era, Miriam, when you tell us you don't boast PBI simply because you hate Raila. I submit.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor. So yesterday when I saw part of that interview and Raila said when he was, he was asked because Deputy President William Ruto has accused Raila of having joined. He's made claims that Raila has joined the government and all of that, and he stated his case, and we've heard it several times. But Raila's response yesterday, he said he's not part of the government, and there's a couple of things that have been happening that he's been able to point out at President Uhuru Kenyatta and telling him, this is not going on well. This needs to be changed. Like he's been advising the president and in matters that are of importance for this country. So perhaps this is a new approach outside of what we used to see as a very vocal opposition leader going out in the streets protesting. So perhaps the kind of engagement they're having now with President Uhuru Kenyatta is more effective in moving the country forward outside of. I used to hate those protests every Monday. Yeah,
you redeem yourself.
I used because it was very disruptive and it was counterproductive for this country. So now I think this engagement, works better for a person like me who likes to walk around without hearing people chanting and protesting and running around and stones being hurled and tear gas and all that. So this is a new approach that he's still criticizing the government, but now it is constructive. Now it is engaging with the perhaps purpose of moving the country forward. And since this has happened, Karanja, how do you think this has perhaps contributed to the effective running of the government, or have you seen any changes that this new working relationship with President Uhuru Kenyatta and the opposition leader, has brought into this country? What would you say are some of the advantages in terms of service delivery and accountability, perhaps?
Thank you, Miriam, for that question. And the one thing that I must say before I answer your question, Katondo South Member of Parliament, Honorable Moses Kuria, is a man who is known to alter words without knowing what he's really saying. And is a man who is known to excite the crowds. And if you watched that clip, you could see Governor Nakuru Lee Kinyanjui saying that he also enjoys when Moses Kuria is speaking to the people because he is more of an entertainer than a person who gives solution to the problems that affect the people.
So they don't
and
take
I
him
agree
seriously.
with that.
So what Kinyanjui was saying, they don't take what Moses says seriously. They don't take him seriously.
That's right. Yeah, he was saying that nobody takes him seriously.
There are Kenyans who believe that to be the truth. So that is the problem. So a person who is intelligent, perhaps, if I may use that word, would think, okay, I mean, what is he saying? But there are people who actually believe what he says to be the truth, and that is the problem. And that is the majority of the people. So go ahead, Chairman.
Yeah, that is a problem to incite the people. But at the end of the day, these Kenyans are the same people who celebrate you, and when it comes to vote, they will not vote for you. We have seen politicians who go mad and they start saying that the election was rigged. The election sometimes was not rigged, but he was vying for a member of parliament. The mass were excited by what he was saying, but they looked at him keenly and they noticed he doesn't have the quality of a leader. But we have a problem entirely with how we vote, because sometimes we don't vote for agenda, we don't vote for an ideology, we just vote for the sake of it, and sometimes it's under influence of the few corrupt coins that are thrown to the voters, and that is where the problem lies. On what I was saying, this BBI conversation, it should not be centered on an individual, and President Uhuru Kenyatta has said it severally, that BBI is about creating a favorable environment, is about having a remedy to the problems that affect this nation. It's not about Raila Odinga. If BBI passes through, how will Raila Odinga or Uhuru Kenyatta benefit with the 5% increment that is going to the devolution? How will Uhuru Kenyatta, the president, and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga benefit with the Youth Commission? How will they benefit when the women are empowered, when we have gender equality? They are not benefiting in any way directly, but it's we Kenyans who will benefit when BBI goes through. Therefore, Moses Kuria, all his what they say, they just go there to excite the crowd and so on. And you know that day when Lee Kinyanjui, Governor Nakuru, started talking, people were attentive. They started listening and they were thinking and they were following what he was saying keenly to understand what is it that this man is saying. Therefore, at the end of the day, this shows that people want to be entertained by this politician, but they still want to hear sense that comes from these leaders. And that is why we draw the lines between a leader and a noisemaker. And on the issue of Raila Odinga interview yesterday, I listened, I followed what the former Prime Minister was saying, and I agree that he has no problem with the Mount Kenya region. These people who paint the name of former Prime for him, some of them could not be enough elected. When you look at Gatondo South member of Parliament, Moses Kuria, he goes to incite the people of Gatondo South that if Raila Odinga is elected the president, your land will be stolen, your cars will be destroyed, all these kind of incitements, and he end up in possession of power. Ask the people of Gatondo South, how have they benefited with the leadership of Moses Kuria? None, because he has no agenda, he has no manifesto. Therefore, it is high time that we start looking at issues the way they are. And I may agree with this. There are still people in Mount Kenya region who support the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, not because of he comes from the Luo Nyanza, but because of the benefits that he has brought to this country, because of the good things that he has brought in this nation. Therefore, at the end of the day, Kenyans will start looking at leaders who bring development to their region. And I want to ask these people, especially Moses Kuria, if the BBI is bad because of Raila Odinga, and you pretend to champion for the interest of Mount Kenyan's community, why don't you pass this BBI that is benefiting them and deal with Raila Odinga as a person? Deal with Raila Odinga without involving the people of Mount Kenya region. If you have a problem with Raila Odinga, why don't you go there and solve your issue personally with him without involving or without provoking the emotions of the people of Mount Kenya region? And when other leaders try to provoke the same and try to show how William Ruto did to the people of Mount Kenya region in 2007, they start saying that we are opening healed woods. These kind of narratives must come to an end. If they want us to go and have a sober discussion, then we will have. And if they want us to go that route of provoking the minds and saying how Raila Odinga is bad because this and this, we also have leaders, especially the man they support, who has done more mess to the people of Mount Kenya region than Raila Odinga. Therefore, those kind of politics, we can do them. But for the sake of this country, we champion for politics that are good for this nation, that are healthy. Because at the end of the day, all Kenyans have a space to lead. All Kenyans who meet the constitutional threshold, they have a right to come and vie for any position without being victimized from where they come from. And for William Ruto, our deputy president, these narratives of hustler narrative, this narrative that divide Kenyans, this narrative of coming to Mount Kenya giving wheelbarrows so that you intoxicate the minds of this region, so that you make the people of this region fight against each other. That is a narrative that is not good. It will not work at the end of the day. And the people who will suffer is the people of Mount Kenya region. And if you really care for the people of Mount Kenya region, why don't you bring those goodies? Why don't you bring those good things that you're promising them after 2022? Why don't you bring them now? And if you are in a government and you say Raila Odinga has forced you out, you are in the periphery of leadership in Jubilee administration, what are you doing in the same government where you have been pushed out? Why don't you resign and work from outside? Therefore, we must dissert these double speaks that comes from this leader, and we look for ideas that will better this country, and that is the BBI, because it is an agenda that Kenya participated. This Tanga narrative, no Kenya was invited to take their views. No Kenya was invited to go and present what they feel for this country. But on the BBI, there was public participation. Sober Kenyans presented their views. But this Tanga narrative is just a hypocritical narrative that is championed by one person. Nobody was invited there for public participation to take their recommendation on how they want their interests as hustlers to be looked at. Now, in this case, the hustlers should be looking for the deputy president, but not the deputy president looking for the hustlers. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you so much, Douglas.
Miriam, before Douglas comes, I want to bring the debate higher. again, add more. I'm not saying it's low, it's high. I just want to increase fire. The question of His Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, has said he has not told anyone that he's going to be the president, or he's not saying it like a Ruto. Where have you heard him say, I will stand for election in 2022? Mm-hmm. Where? Let any tanga stupid brigade man tell me where Ruto, where Raila Odinga stood and said, I want the presidency. He hasn't declared yet. What Raila Odinga has said, and it must be said here, and which some of us support, 100%, he wants to unite Kenya to change the electoral system through the BBI amendment of the Constitution, so that you change blood-letting narratives that always come every 5 years. Am I clear now? That's what Raila Odinga has been telling. That's what Uhuru Kenyatta has been saying. Mm-hmm. The narrative of people saying he wants to be a president, it is being manufactured by Tanga in order to scare people in Mount Kenya. Why is Ruto not scaring his own people in the Rift Valley? He is come to scare the Mount Kenyans that don't give a vote to Raila, but give me Rigathi Chikwai. What is this stupid guy from Mandera? The thief who stole 7 billion.
Rigathi Gachagua.
Yes. Raila has not told anybody. You show me. Where did he tell you? Raila is selling a redemption strategy to stop fighting after every election. Once that is through, then Raila will declare his interest, and if the Constitution amendment has come through, there we are. We go on the ballot. They will sit down with Uhuru Kenyatta, with Raila himself, and the other people. Might not even be on the ballot. I don't want to be like Mr. Atwoli. I have no magic. But the way things are going, you know, why is Ruto so worried about the BBI? Why doesn't Ruto allow Raila to sell BBI with Uhuru Kenyatta? Have you people on the panel asked yourselves? Have you asked yourselves, why is it that Mr. Ruto does not want this BBI to pass? I'm a political scientist, so I want a question coming from Miriam to ask me, or from Kidi. The most serious worry of Ruto, if the BBI takes shape, it will be a law. It will be enacted. Mm-hmm. You have forgotten that?
Declare your wealth and all that. Fight against corruption, it's there.
Yes. You have to declare your wealth. You have to corruption. We shall charge him very quickly and fast. You have forgotten that? Very fast. Committee. He doesn't want that. Because if it goes through, it will be a law the following day. Am I wrong, Mr. Lawyer?
You're right, Natali.
We are not voting to postpone. We are voting sasa hivi. If I'm right. in Swahili. Hivi sasa sai. As soon as we finish the last ballot and the Electoral Commission declares, it becomes a law.
You have to say it right, Doctor. Try again. Sasa
hivi sasa.
Sasa hivi.
Or sasa hivi. Okay, I don't know. Please teach me. I don't want to embarrass people here. So Ruto is worried that once the BBI goes through, he will be the first suspect in the dock of the new law. Nobody else is worried. No. 2, there will be a new government. The president will be forced, of course, to announce interpreting things for people or what? You know, the only order goes down. Have you looked at the omnibus bill? Have you read the bill? Kiddy, have you read the bill to the National Assembly, to the counties?
I have, sir. You know,
once it comes to Parliament,
yes.
Yes, once it comes to Parliament,
yes,
they endorse it. You know that the only order goes down.
Yes, because afterwards the president will determine.
Yes, so it is over now. Do you know that that's the biggest worry that makes them go to the toilet 200 times? It's over. Once after the referendum, the amendment has gone through, it means it has changed the format of governance. Am I wrong?
You're right.
So the post of a deputy president ceases to exist. We are talking of election in 2022. We might have election this year. Did you know that? Have all of you thought about it? Professor Gerard Onyari, as a man who studied these books, did you know that could happen? We might have election much earlier in a new dispensation. Therefore, new blood, anybody can declare. Unaona, my brother, Pan-African, could declare interest. Did you follow Burundi? What did Nkurunziza tell you? Unfortunately, Nkurunziza did not finish his term. No, but he finished his term. Nkurunziza changed the law. And immediately the law was changed and it was voted. Nkurunziza said he's now a new president, not old. Don't you see where we are heading? Sorry, Miriam. Haven't you seen where we are heading? We are heading towards them, my sister. And it is very worrying for Ruto. One, the anti-corruption unit will be on his farm. On his farm in Taita Taveta. It will be in Sungoi to look for the bags of cement that were stolen from SGR. It will look for everywhere. Have you ever seen someone who steals even SGR cement and the name? It is ordinary theft. Obubi, Owenkoko, Omuifiwe Chingo. In Luya we say Omuifiwe Chingo. You steal even the nails and the metal to do your houses. Then you say, I'm a very clean man. These allegations will all come. People will camp there. This year he will camp there. So the guy does not want the BBI to pass. But Raila Odinga has not said he's selling the BBI in order for him to be the president. Okay, even if he was to be the president, that's the reason here. Is he not a Kenyan? Is he not a Kenyan? Hasn't he also suffered while Mr. Ruto was eating in YK 92? Wasn't Mr. Ruto part of the people who sent Raila Odinga into Kampala exile? Isn't it? Let's go to details now. Was Uhuru Kenyatta in the government in 1992?
No.
The answer is no. The Uhuru Kenyatta was in opposition, isn't it? He was a member of parliament for Gatundu. And they became a leader of opposition. But he was not hunting down Mr.
Raila Odinga.
Raila Odinga. He wasn't. But the Ruto group of YK 92 was the one that hunted down Mr. Raila Odinga until he fled on a boat across into Uganda. But Odinga has not come to pay revenge. He's only saying unity. If you leave Kenya, let me ask another question. Miriam, Kirimi, who is coming to speak next. Do you really, as you sit where you are sitting, do you really think there will be an election here? Without reforms? Without reforms, there will be an election in this country?
Recipe of chaos.
That one, I will fly out very early. If the reforms are not there, I will fly out and listen very far. In fact, there is now a new medicine to rub the memory. It changes your memory and you forget about Kenya. And imagine Kenya does not exist. Yeah. If there is an election without an amendment, prepare for more flights and demonstrations across in The Hague. That's why Uhuru Kenyatta is fighting so hard to make sure that there is a change. And that's it.
All right. Thank you so much, Douglas. You wanted to say something, and when you're coming in, we've seen this charm offensive that Raila Odinga and even President Uhuru Kenyatta has embarked in Mount Kenya region, trying to sensitize and create awareness around BBI, and perhaps creating an understanding on why they even came together in the first place. Do you think this will help in perhaps helping the people from the region of Mount Kenya to some of these things that have been said, to clear some of these things and perhaps, create some clarity to the people there in Mount Kenya? And will this help in terms of, if we were to go by that letter by Kenyatta, it'll change your arithmetic?
Thank you, Miriam. And one thing we need to do and also understand as a people is that the President of the Republic of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga have never said in public that the BBI is about Raila, and also the rights that have been peddled in Mount Kenya region, the President created the air on the same. Remember, we are dealing with serious political conmen, hybrid political conmen, people who have committed economic crimes against the people of Kenya. And I wish that the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya and a loophole where we can be able to impeach this man. I would have read a motion to impeach him very long time ago through my MP. But now, at the end of the day, we are facing a very serious challenge where people of Kenya have accepted to be deceived by serious political conmen and also people who have committed economic crimes against them. It is your taxes that are being eaten. It is your taxes that are buying choppers and building hotels across the nation. It is your taxes, the people of Kenya. I feel so much pain in my heart when I pay taxes, and also this man steals the same money and also goes and buys MPs and also continues insulting the president, saying the BBI is about giving the right honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga the position of president. Remember, the people in Mount Kenya region listen to their leader. Every region, Nyanza has their own, Rift Valley has their own, Northeastern has their own. In Mount Kenya, we listen to only one man, President Uhuru Kenyatta. And the people of Mount Kenya have now come of age, and they know that these same people that are telling us that we need to elect him for as a president, we need to tell each other the truth, because he is promising the people of Mount Kenya wheelbarrows, but at the end of the day, what we are gaining as a people in Mount Kenya, for example, Murang'a gets over 6 billion shillings from the current allocation. When BBI proposes allocation is around 10 billion and 10.8 billion. In Nyeri, they are receiving 5 billion. After BBI, they receive 9 billion. In Kiambu, they are receiving 9 billion. After BBI, they are receiving a whooping 18 billion. In Nyandarua, they are receiving 4 billion. In after BBI, they are going to receive 8 billion. In Laikipia, they are receiving 4 billion. In 4 billion now, and after BBI, they are going to receive 8.2 billion. Also, Kirinyaga receives 4 billion. After BBI, they shall be receiving 8 billion. In Embu, they receive 4 billion. They shall receive 8 billion after BBI. Nakuru County receives 10 billion, and after BBI, they shall be receiving 21 billion. In Tharaka Nithi, they receive 3.9 billion. After BBI, they shall receive 6 billion. Meru, where I come from, we are receiving 8 billion. After BBI, we shall receive 14.8 billion. Miriam, I want to pose a question to the people of Kenya and also the people of Mount Kenya. BBI brings 53 billion to the people of Mount Kenya region, whereas to William Ruto, Mount Kenya people are punching back, and also there are people who are going to receive wheelbarrows and also whole manner of promises. He has been promising these things since 2013, how he is going to develop our region, and also he has launched a lot of fake projects in Mount Kenya. The president himself has been categorical that this 53 billion is to develop our region, is not to give the president a position of the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Raila supports 53 billion coming to Mount Kenya region. William Ruto supports nothing. He wants to be president for nothing. It is the high time as a people that our votes count as a region and also as the people of Mount Kenya. Shame on a man that wants to promise us nothing and us making him president. If Raila runs on a BBI platform and says he's promising 53 billion through the BBI, we shall go for Raila Odinga. It is our own right to be able to think as a people and also to make our own decision. Even the president himself cannot stop us from voting for Raila, because this is a man that is pushing for 53 billion. One man, one vote, one sharing. And the other man is promising us nothing. He wants us to continue suffering so that they can give us wheelbarrows, whereas the daughter is an ambassador and also the people of Rift Valley don't get these wheelbarrows. We don't want as a people from Mount Kenya region to be outdoing and also be ready to an hybrid political conman, a man that has been stealing from the public coffers, dipping his hands in every public project. The people of Kimorel, where the former CS for Treasury comes from, Henry Rotich, today they have been gifted the bushes and tickets by William Ruto, Pharaoh regions. In Mount Kenya, the president is promising us 53 billion through the BBI report. Mm-hmm. Why would we believe William Ruto, who has gifted his own Pharaoh regions, tickets and bushes and eaten their 64 billion, whereas the president is saying 53 billion will be coming to our region every year? Okay. The time has come, the push has come to the shove, and we need to be able to separate the chaff from the wheat, because William Ruto is an hybrid political conman, Miriam, who has been outdrinking our people with wheelbarrows that he has not been able to gift his sons and also daughters and also the people of Rift Valley. How many wheelbarrows has he distributed there? He cannot disfranchise the people of Mount Kenya economically and also politically, and also calling us emotionally, telling us wheelbarrows are going to change our lives, calling them complex issues. Mm-hmm. And Miriam, as I conclude, William Ruto should be ashamed of himself and also be ashamed of his wheelbarrow party that is promising Mount Kenya people wheelbarrow, and he has not given the Rift Valley people those wheelbarrows. Thank you, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much. It's almost midday here. We are 2 hours in. I don't know, perhaps we should take a short break, and then when we come back, we look at the rest of our topics, and we shall look at also what made headlines over this week. Uganda, the ICC, Ongwen has been convicted.
William, I am not sure if this show will be just when yours truly is locked out. You remember I was grappling with my microphone, then you gave my chance to Professor, and you've not reverted back to me.
Okay, sorry.
Well,
go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead then.
Well, one thing we must say is that there are certain clarifications that has come from the president, especially in regards to the BBI process, that people of Kenya must be reminded. One, during the launch of the report in late last year at Bomas, the president reminded the nation that Raila Odinga is not in government, and that their engagement with Raila Odinga has been based on mutual respect for one another and out of the mutual desire to take this country back to its track. Secondly, the president has also said that the BBI process is not about 2022, and anyone who is using the BBI process as a precursor for 2022, especially as the members of the Tangatanga Brigade have pointed out, is that they're using the BBI process as a boogeyman to scare everyone into either inaction or action. Mm-hmm. The comments made by Moses Kuria points out to the general thinking in and around the Tangatanga. The thinking of stroking ethnic fears and ethnic prejudice. Because if Moses Kuria comes out to say that he has no problem with the BBI process, but they are fighting the president day in, day out, they are fighting, they're trying to scuttle this process, speaks to their own hypocrisy. As Daktari has said, that if we do not pass the BBI process, then we are going to have a greater challenge, a greater political violence in 2022 than we saw in 2013, and that 2007 may look like child's play. What Daktari David Matsanga is failing to, as I told you, is that our electoral infrastructure, as it is so weak and so prone to manipulation that it is something we must fix here and now. That if we delay with it a day longer, it would be stroking the same embers of violence that we are trying to run away from. So that the truth is that we must fix our electoral infrastructure to be sure, to be able to walk into the next general elections and to go to bed hoping that we still have a country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And as I said, they will take a very short break, and then when we come back, we shall look at Uganda. As I said there, the Hague judges said prosecutors had proved 61 crimes against Ongwen out of the 70 he was accused of committing yesterday. And then still in Uganda, we know this week Bobi Wine filed his election petition, and we shall look at the highlights of some of those things and claims that he's raising, that he said, should grounds for the election and for the President Museveni's win to be nullified. And then we shall conclude with that military coup that took place in Myanmar. Thank you so much. Don't go too far. We'll take a very short break, and then we shall be right back.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.